Hello everyone, and this is going to be an unboxing. It's going to be a very quick unboxing because I've been editing all day and it is after 5. And that's not how I planned my vacation. I had planned on being in Florida, but I decided to save some money. And I still have to decide if I'm going to Hauserman tomorrow. So I don't know if it's saving money, but it's not spending as much because it's not spending as much as I would in Florida. That is a fact. So, like I said, how did I throw that? I am such an idiot. Okay, I have 2 unboxings, and I'm just going to set this down and get to it. These are from eBay, and they're both in my favorite group. No, my favorite groups. So they're in different genuses. And one is from In Situ Orchids, Jeff Tyler, and the other is from Barbara and I can't remember his name, David maybe. But anyway, they're Botanica Limited. Woohoo! All right, so we're gonna do the Jeff Tyler one, In Situ, which is, they're both, like I said. Dump some of these peanuts before they get out. No sooner I say that. Woo! The size of the box kind of gave me pause, but as you can see, this, my people, is Dacrylilla terretifolia. And you remember I had a terretifolia. As I said, Dendrobium tetrafolium. It is now Dacrylilla. This is the Vital Braille orchid of the low elevations in Eastern Australia. Tough, branching, wiry, pendulous stems frequently form large, long masses with cylindrical leaves. Numerous racemes bear up to 16 spidery white to cream fragrant flowers with red to purple markings on the lip. Appear in late winter, early spring. Hang in a sheltered, shady position with ample air movement, minimum winter temperature. And this is the Vital Veil orchid, Dendrobium or Dacrylilla terretifolia. Terretifolium. And as I've said before, this has become a bucket list plant since I was aware of it, but over the years have only been able to get really small pieces. Now look at those roots that are so big and fleshy. And reflecting back on the smallest pieces that I got that were not bloom size, although I thought they were bloom size, never ever showed the way that these roots are just appearing from old dried roots. And there's numerous of those root tips. But one thing I did notice as well was the new growths that are coming off of the plant are very unusual in the respect that as they form along what would appear to be a cane, they're very, very nubby, which I can only assume is formation of perhaps new inflorescence. You see those nubbins, if the camera would focus now, you see this one, that is a spent growth.
from the base in that one. But then down further, just below the latest growth that bloomed, which is that one, you can see that it has pushed forward a couple of new growths, those that are going up vertically. There's one, and you see there's nubbins right there. You see those? If it would really focus. Same sort of deal. Those nubbins, to me, look as if they possibly could be where either, I would say it would be the spike, but there has to be the formation of the leaf, which is throwing me off. And you can see that it is at the very tip forming. So the only thing I can imagine is if that very end tip that looks like the leaf continues to just get big, and maybe those, we'll see. But it's definitely, and it's doing it on this other one, the same thing. So just keep my eye on that. And I'm still trying to get it to focus so you can see how similar they are. Those nubbins that it's just so hard to pick up on camera. It's such a bright day. There you go. See that protrusion up there? Really, really unique in the way that it's forming its new growth. So I'm really guessing it's the first time that I've been able to actually get a plant that produced a new growth. But I am comparing them with the older growths. See, you can see how they started, and they then produced alternate almost growths along the stem. You saw that spent spike just below that had numerous spent spikes. So that gives me more reason to think, see, there they are again, there's 1, 2, 3. Gives me more reason to think that those protrusions will push out and be spikes. And then once those bloom, then the leaf that is developing at the base, at the very end, will keep on going.
But it's not open yet. My Gorilla. Foliage. There's birds. Not so long ago. And it was a tad longer than this one, and it bloomed for me. They bloom in the wintertime, and there's a spent flower spike right there. And there's another. So, and I see another couple right in there. So their growth habit is they put out a pseudobulb from an old growth, which matures, and then it sprouts its inflorescence from the newly completed growth around, it's actually at the bottom near the rhizome. And it is a long rhizome that is very brittle and is easy to be broke. So you really have to pay attention, because this plant can actually disappear in the greenhouse because it is so fine with these pendant pseudobulbs. So that's one. And let's get the other one together. Okay, like I said, this is Botanica. And I want you to really see how they pack. I don't think I've ever shown this before. They're the best. The best. Okay. And it is, right now, let me see if it will tell me. Wow, come on now. Well, it is supposed to tell me the temperature, but it's not. Anyway, it was 40, it was 30, 34, 32 when I woke up this morning. But I wanted you to see this, how great that they wrap and pack. So it's inside more bubble wrap. And if you get a package from Botanica, you do not use a knife unless you're opening the box, because these pieces of tape were meant to be opened by hand. And so inside of this one is another. And there's no heat packing here. Let me prove. Yeah, there is none. Okay. Okay. Here we go. And I've got other shipments from Botanica where they've put the mounted orchids, they've stuck the actual hook that you hang it up by into a piece of styrofoam and laid the orchid on top of that and covered it with sphagnum, live Spanish moss. No, that's sphagnum moss, I'm sorry. Spanish moss. No, it's Spanish moss. Yeah. And so the plant is in here. Sometimes it's almost best to open them from the bottom, because you can get to the plant a lot easier, because they douse it in this shredded paper, which I don't like, but it works. Okay, and here's my plant. And this is Arangus articulata. Okay, folks, according to Fred Hillevid's book of Cultivated and Cocoid Orchids of Madagascar, Arangus articulata, it says it's pronounced articulata. Okay. Was named by Rudolf Schlechter. Species name is a Latin word meaning articulated or jointed. Species has also been known as Angrecum articulata, blah, blah, blah. Description based on their plants. It's a plant with a stem, sometimes branches. Inflorescence is that long, carries 12 to 18 beautifully pleasantly scented flowers. Natural habitat reportedly comes from the eastern coast of Madagascar. And plants of articulata prosper in pots, or they can be mounted, in intermediate temperatures and medium lower light levels are sufficient to produce flowering. This is one of the finest of the genus. The flowers are of the purest white, very nicely scented, and held on cascading inflorescence. in which all the flowers open together and are well arranged, often confused with Arangus modesta. This species is more showy, larger in plant size, and longer stemmed. Arangus articulata is a plant that definitely belongs in every collection. And yeah. That's about that. And this is Arangus articulata. I think there's a modesta to show you the difference. And Arangus articulata is a vining type Arangus. Let me see. And I should say not too many Arangus. There is Certipodium that's built like this, and Elysiae. But honestly, when I've read about Arangus articulata, it is really said to be a bigger version of Modesta, a larger version of Modesta, and with bigger flowers, and that's about it. But it looks like there's a Kiki here, a baby plant. So I got two. And I'll put pictures if I can find them. I know I can. Anyway, again, Arangus articulata. And the first plant was Trichocentrum terretifolia. Thanks for watching. And enjoy your orchids. Bye.